CNN just conducted a poll that showed between 76% and 81% of Americans, irrespective of their political belief, Republicans or Democrat, believe people should present a valid government ID when trying to vote. The US is the only developed country that I know of where someone don't have to show a valid government ID prior to voting. The logical question to ask is if the majority of the population believe that one should present an ID prior to voting, why is it a political issue? It is an issue because Republicans are trying to implement something called the SAVE Act to, how should I say, mandate that people have have IDs before they vote, which is fine. The problem with the SAVE Act is it will affect mostly people in the South and not a whole lot of people in the red states. Why is this a problem? Because most people in the South, especially people of color and black people, vote Democratic, and the Republicans are trying to bring this to an end. Now, the Republicans would lead you to believe that Democrats want people to vote who don't have IDs. They want immigrants to vote. This is absolutely not true. The problem the Democrats are having is their inability to craft a proper response to the Republican attack. No one in their right mind will say someone who don't have an ID should show up to vote. The argument between the two parties has to do with the requirements necessary to obtain a valid federal government ID. And the Republicans are trying to make it virtually impossible to do so. The other issue we need to consider is if this SAVE Act did pass, it means mail in voting and voter registration online would go away because the person would have to present themselves in person in order to be eligible for vote. There will be no more mail in ballots. That's all gone. So it's not that Democrats are, for example, if you want to get under the SAVE Act, if you want to get a valid government ID, you will have to present proof of US citizenship. You would have to have a passport. You would have to have a US birth certificate, not just any birth certificate, though. You must have the original birth certificate. I'm 51 years old and I just found my original birth certificate. I don't know of many adults American who can find their adult birth certificate. Your naturalization paperwork, you will also need that. Those are all approved federal government ID under the SAFE Act. However, your driver's license doesn't work. If you do want to present your driver's license, you have to do so in conjunction with the previously mentioned document. Now, believe it or not, most of age Americans who can vote don't have a valid government ID. Most of them don't have passports. Most of them don't know their social security card. Most of them don't know where their birth certificate is. So this is a Republican clever way of getting people to be unregistered to vote, which will give them an advantage. And finally, if you are an illegal person in this country, that is to say, you are not a citizen, you can't vote. So I have no idea why the Republicans keep saying that the Democrats want illegals to vote in an election. You can't vote in a federal election, nor can you vote in a state election.